Welcome to Changing the Sales Game podcast on webtalkradio.net. I'm your host, Connie Whitman. As always, thanks so much for joining us this week. Now, as you tune in weekly, I really do hope that you feel my passion and this idea that sales has to be icky, sleazy, manipulative, or create that feeling of icky, sleazy manipulation. We need to stop it. We really need to start thinking about sales from this place of love, care, and respect. And to help you with that little shift in mindset, I have a free gift for you. It's my communication style assessment, which gives you a report that just spotlights your natural communication superpowers. You also get the report that spotlights your blind spot, which is usually even more helpful. So go to whitmanassociates.com/CSA. My gift to you. I do hope that information helps you. Now, my motivational quote today is by Jonathan Perelman, and he says, "Content is king, but distribution is queen, and she wears the pants." Now, I know I sound like a broken record because I've said this before, but I have to repeat it. Sales and marketing are two very different things. Now, from my perspective, marketing opens the door, gets attention, begins to build that whole like, no, trust factor, right, that our clients need to feel with us. Then comes the sales conversation, which speaks to the communication, the live communication flow of the sales process. What are your follow-up protocols, products and service deliverables? How are you doing that? Building rapport and trust, accountability, and all of those other things, right, are part of that sales piece. So marketing and sales alone, they just can't grow a business, right? So we need the operations, cash flow. We need to look at financials, all of the deliverables, receivables, inventory control, the list goes on. For us to have that type of growth, we have to have all of the pieces of the puzzle. So today we're really going to dig in on the marketing piece and how to build our client connections. Now, over the last 3 decades, my wonderful guest and award-winning business coach, Melitta Campbell, has noticed 2 things. Number one, that the best marketing is simple and significant. And the other is that small business owners actually have a distinct advantage over their corporate cousins when it comes to achieving this. Now, today's episode, she's going to share how small business owners can use this advantage to start working with more of their dream clients and deepen those positive impact that they're having on the world. Now, Melitta is super passionate about helping coaches to master their marketing so they can have a bigger impact on the world. And she's also the best-selling author of A Shy Girl's Guide to Networking. I was not her avatar for that, clearly. So her book is A Shy Girl's Guide to Networking. And she also hosts a podcast called Driven Female Entrepreneur. So make sure to check that out. Melitta, thank you so much for being on the show. I just love spending time with you. And I think we have just some really good conversations. So thanks for being on.
Likewise, I'm really excited to really dig in. As you say, we've had some great conversations around this in the past.
Yeah, we're in groups together, right? So Melitta and I, we kind of can't get rid of each other, which I love. I'm cool with, right? Melitta, it's good to meet like-minded people that we can have these just really good conversations and kind of get to the meat of, and in this case, marketing. So like I said, sales and marketing are 2 different things. Talk to us and describe for us, how do you see, or how would you describe marketing?
Yeah, great question. Because I think a lot of people see marketing as really about the promotion of the business or the product or the offer. And that is, of course, a big part of marketing, but it's only a part of it. Really, the way you approach your clients, the way you look, your pricing, the way you look after clients over time, all of this counts as well. So I really see marketing as putting client understanding at the heart of every decision you make in your business. And as you say, sales and marketing are different, but I really believe they should dance together and collaborate on having that really beautiful, seamless journey and creating a meaningful experience start to finish for clients.
And here's the thing, and I'm going to use an example, right? Melitta and I have the same coach. And so last year I rebranded from Whitman and Associates to Changing the Sales Game, because that's really what I'm all about, right? Changing the sales game, now creating a membership. So you want to stay in that branding kind of vibe. So we're calling it All-Star all-star membership site, right? So all of these pieces of the puzzle are the marketing piece, right? That the logo, the imagery, the colors, that's all the marketing, but it has to be consistent with me and who I am and how I deliver and what my business is all about, right? So that's the two pieces, but that in and of itself, right? And I know you're creating a membership, which we're going to talk about later too, Melitta, but just because we created it doesn't mean people are going to run and join it, right? We have to have that marketing piece. They have to be able to check us out, have conversations, touch us, feel us, not literally, right? But that touchy-feely kind of thing to decide whether to buy from us or not. And that's where the marketing and the sales comes in. And I agree. I think they're doing a dance constantly and supporting and reiterating and just really creating the right vibration that we want for our business and for our messaging. So I agree with you 100% on that.
Yeah, and I think you highlighted something quite interesting there about marketing and sales and everything to do with business, is that you are now regrouping your brand and your business around what you've learned from your clients. So you're putting that client understanding at the heart of your decision and that pivoting. But it didn't mean your business wasn't working before, but we are all evolving. And I think marketing is something that you have to stay in touch with consistently and really make those little tweaks, bring in that understanding, that feedback, and keep growing. And it takes courage to do that, because you think, oh, I'm going to change. It means that it wasn't good before. And it doesn't. It just means you're getting better and clearer and stronger all the time. So yeah, so I think it's great. And you're just this perfect example of how marketing flows over time.
Yeah, and my business is still my business. My model is my model. I'm working with small business owners now, as well as corporate clients, right? That COVID, that was my pivot for me. But changing this, and it's funny because even my corporate clients, you know, I've rebranded to changing the sales game, and they go, "Oh, that is you. Yes, yes, yes. You're helping us change the sales game," right? So I giggle because it's the right message. It's the essence of who I am, right? So that's that marriage but people know me to know that changing the sales game was the right choice, right, Melitta? Does that make sense?
Yeah, exactly. And it can take time to discover that essence. And also trends and things change over time. So there was a time when branding under your own name or having something that sounded quite corporate and official. Obviously, if you're working with corporates, that meant something. But now your business has changed and it means something else to you and to your clients. And so you're kind of regrouping under that. And I think that's great.
Yeah, everything changes. I do believe staying relevant is really critical. Not only as a business person, Melitta, but even for my corporate people that follow the show, you want to stay relevant as it relates to your career and your career growth, right? So reiteration, I think, is just part of life and marketing and sales, right? That reiteration, they kind of are married and go together. Do you find, I mean, I know I find this personally, but I'm going to ask you from your perspective with your clients, marketing, I think sometimes business owners, especially like myself, that it becomes super overwhelming. Why do you think that is? And do you see that, or am I just, crazy?
Oh no, I think most people find it overwhelming. And I think there's a few reasons behind that. Not many people, particularly if you're a small business owner and you have to do everything, not many people have those marketing skills. And even if they've been in corporate and they've had some exposure to marketing, usually they would have had a process already in place. They would have had the team and resources and a budget. And so everything was a lot easier. When you have to do it all for yourself, and then all of a sudden you're selling yourself on top of that, there's a whole nother game. So I think it's overwhelming because it feels so big. The other thing is that they quite often, these small business owners look to what's working and they're looking to bigger companies and they're trying to copy that. So they dive straight in with expensive ads. They dive straight, I have to have a website, and all these big, huge projects that are very complex and expensive, when in fact, they don't need that at all. All they need is that personal connection, meaning with their clients. And I think they miss part of the initial part of the puzzle, which is really, who are they, what's their vision, what's their purpose, who are they exactly working with, what is their offer? And without all of that understanding, that clarity, everything else then becomes difficult. And when you don't have clarity, that's when you have the overwhelm. And overwhelm doesn't always come from having too much to do. It comes from just not knowing what to do next. And without those foundational pieces in, it gets really difficult to know, well, where do I go here? I need to communicate this, but who am I communicating it to? And what exactly is this? You know, there's too many question marks. And I think that's where the overwhelm comes in.
It's funny. I'll share just a really funny story. So this is years ago when social media really, because remember, I've been in business 20 years and I didn't have a website 20 years ago. Nobody even asked for it. It wasn't a thing, right? Everything was live, networking, everything was live, getting referrals, all of those kinds of things. Not that that's changed much. I still see that today, but we didn't need a website. Well, fast forward. All of a sudden I said to my husband, there was locally at the library, they had a social media expert come and talk. And I think SCORE was the one that was, it's just an organization that kind of helps small business owners, at least locally in the United States. So I said to my husband, will you come with me? Two heads are better than one. You might hear something I don't, but I don't know anything about this social media stuff. So they hand out, this is very funny, Melita. This is my level of marketing expertise, right? So they give us a handout and I'm taking notes. We get in the car and my husband says, wow, I'm so excited that I saw you taking so many notes, that you got so much from it. And I almost burst into tears. And he goes, what's the matter? I said, they kept using the word hashtag. I don't even know what that means. So I kept putting stars next to hashtag. So when we get home, I have to Google it because I don't know what a hashtag is. And he says to me, it's the tic-tac-toe sign. I go, well, why did they just say that? Right. So it was this whole overwhelm, like at the highest level, but it really, and this is the thing, Melitta, why I know sales and marketing are two different things. It was like a foreign language to me. I felt really inferior. I felt stupid. I like all of these emotions, right, as a business owner. And I'm thinking, how have I survived this long? I don't even know what a hashtag is, right? So I think the overwhelm comes from, it's not our zone of genius, right? It's definitely not my zone of genius. And hiring other people. And this is I want to talk about keeping marketing simple. But before I do, finding someone like you was really hard because I didn't know where to look, if that makes sense. So as I'm networking, everybody does, oh, marketing expert. I'm a marketing expert. Well, to me, that's overwhelming because I don't know what that means, because I hear you need copy and you need email campaigns and you need hashtags for your Twitter and you need this and you need that. And it's literally like a foreign language. So how do we business owners find the right match of a marketing person like you or marketing exec? Like, where were you 10 years ago in my life?
I'm still, that's just such a great point. And I see it with a lot of the conversations I have, which is really part of why I've launched the membership is, I'm launching my business. I found this company. They'll do my marketing for me. They're going to cost me $10,000. Then they're going to do Google ads. It's like, well, what's your message? Who are you targeting? What's your offer? And they don't have any of that in place. And they didn't realize that this marketing company wasn't magically going to do that for them. So I said, they can only market you once you have a business that's working and a message that's really resonating with people. So I would keep things really, really simple. Don't even think about marketing. And I've had lots of conversations with other marketing consultants and experts, and they all agree, just don't market your business until you've had a few clients. And your first clients will come from your network. So I love that you brought that up. Your first clients are usually close to you because you are an expert in what you're doing, and other people are either close to you because they have a similar level of expertise in that same field, or they are people who are really interested in that and they're following you for the information. So as soon as you say, oh, I'm now offering this, you'll find your first clients. And I've launched 3 businesses that way. And the first business, I just had lunch with someone and said, well, maybe I could do this. And she's like, oh, I know someone that wants that. I had my first client who turned out to be like worth $300,000 over a 5-year period. So, and then I had many clients after that. And my first business, all my clients came from my network. And even though I'm a marketing expert, I had a website, but it was just one page with a picture and like 5 bullet points and a link for my email and phone number. So, I didn't need anything complicated. And I think you still don't need anything complicated. But until you've worked with your first 2 clients, you don't really know what you're about. you don't really know how your offer comes off with people, what they really value in what you do. And so I think don't jump in with your marketing too soon. Just take your time, find those first few clients, just speak to your network, tell them what you're doing. You'll find those clients, I promise. And that's when you can start thinking, okay, well, this is great. Is this really what I want to be doing? Are these really the kind of people that I want to be working with? And that's the point where you can start to dig in and really understand what you're about and what you want to mean for other people and what they need you for. And then where those two worlds cross over, that's where you build out your messaging and your marketing. And then you'll know, okay, well, I want to work with these people and create this experience. And that makes perfect sense on Facebook, or that makes perfect sense on by through networking and public speaking, or whatever it means. It's only when you know who you're working with and you've worked with some of them that you'll know what makes sense.
Yeah. And I agree. And it's funny because, again, my corporate clients for 20 years, COVID hit. And all of a sudden I'm networking with small business owners and they're saying to me, can you help me with my sales? They would hear me speak or something and say, I think I have that blind spot. Can we talk? It never dawned on me, Melitta, prior to COVID, because I did everything live with my corporate clients and they kept me busy and the pay was good. And, who had time to network in this whole different venue for me? And then COVID came and everything stopped. So that was the blessing, right? I always try to find the silver lining. So for me, that was a blessing because it exposed me to this whole new world. Never thought about it because no one had ever asked me as a small business owner, because I just wasn't playing there to say, I think I need your help, right? So that's another thing. Be aware of where you do belong and where you don't belong, and keep an open mind at what those opportunities are. Because easily I could have said when I started now, oh, no, oh, I don't work with small business owners. I only work with corporate. I could have said that, but I'm open-minded and I thought, oh yeah, I definitely could help you. I know I can help you. Yeah. A couple of weeks, I could get you, making an extra 10 grand a month or whatever. Right. So depending on who the client is, I could easily see their deficit because I'm good at sales. But don't ask me if your marketing messaging is good. I'd be like, I have no idea. So again, this is this dilemma I think that business owners find themselves in. And the other thing too, Melitta, and I know you don't do this, and this is why I really like you and I like how you run your business. I see marketing propaganda. I'm going to use the word propaganda. I don't know if that's the right word, but through emails. And it's like, you don't have to sell anymore. Just have a good marketing campaign. And I think that's ridiculous. I think marketing helps us. I need marketing. It helps me open doors to small business owners, but I still have to get on the call with those small business owners to say, am I a match for you? I don't know through an email campaign if you're the right match for me or I'm the right match for you. So that this propaganda of you don't need to sell is really creating, I think, a lot of blind spots for business owners, and they're leaving money on the table. And I know you and I philosophically agree that they're a marriage, they're a dance, but they're still separate things that just have to work in harmony.
Yeah, exactly. You have to always keep that door open and that invitation there for people and visible. Yep. They won't book a call if you don't ask them to. So you have to do the marketing. So as you say, you're building that know, like, and trust. You're building the credibility, because if they don't know who you are, they're not going to hop straight on a call, particularly if you're in something like coaching, because that's quite a big step, right? They have to come on a call and say, I'm failing at something. And that's not very natural for people, if they don't know who you are, to be that vulnerable. So we have to recognize that marketing is a journey, it's an experience, and we have to build that trust by giving first and making sure that we're showing that we understand, we care. And I love the concept of being their champion, to let them know, it's okay that you're struggling with this. It's fine, but you don't stay struggling. Come over here, let's sort this out for you, so that they know that you understand them, you care about helping them, and you do have those solutions. And then the next step is like, well, let's take this offline and have that conversation, because that's where the clients come from, the conversations, right? And that's the big part, the sales part. So yeah, they have to all feed in.
Have to fit. Yeah. And it's funny because you're right. I think for people to hire you or people to hire me, something isn't working. I don't know that they always know, like I don't always know unless I talk to a marketing expert what's missing on my marketing, right, messaging. So we have to talk to the experts. But it's funny because I find people get defensive, and not that I put them on the defensive, but they'll say, like they'll meet me and they'll say, like a small group when you Zoom and they do breakouts and, oh, I'm really good at sales. Immediately I think, are you? Like, for you to say that to me, there's something there, but I don't push. And I say, well, okay, I hope my information was helpful. And, I'm pretty light touch with things. And I know you probably hear the same thing. Oh, my marketing's really good. And you think, is it really good?
Yeah. Yeah, I hear that all the time. Oh, I don't have a problem with my marketing. And then just click through to one of their social media platforms. It's like, no mention of them having any kind of business, or it's just a picture of them and their kids, or the worst, them and their friends. Like, which one are you? There is nothing on to support the fact that they even have a business. So they're just like this big secret thing. Yeah, that's really a problem, particularly when they say, oh, I get all my clients from social media, and then you check them out and they're just pretty much invisible. How?
It's a blind spot. And that's why I have a coach. That's why you have a coach, right? Because we all have blind spots and we can't know everything about everything, especially as it relates to business, right? I have another question. What do you think, or what would you recommend, or when you work with your clients? You mentioned that your own website was kind of simple, right? It was one page, had an image, had 5 bullets, bam, that was it. And then here, contact me if you want more info. What would be like a simple marketing place to start for people listening, thinking, oh, I'm kind of liking this, I'm feeling a little more comfortable with marketing? Where should they start?
So I think you really need to go back to the beginning, and you just know what you're offering. So the very first thing is just to say, changing the sales game. It's very clear. They land on your website, they know instantly what you're all about. If you have a business like mine, it's my name. I was trying to find a unique name, and I was trying all these different things, and then I thought, actually, I'm the only Melitta Campbell out there, so let's go with that. But then I have to explain what I do. So it's really like business coaching, then helping you simplify your marketing so you can amplify your impact. Really just telling them in a nutshell. Don't get clever, don't get smart. Just tell them what it is. Tell them what it is you do. Because particularly if you're doing a website, or not so much on social media, but on a website, you don't browse a website like you do with a magazine or anything else. You're on a mission. You want to know, and you want every page you land on to be that perfect solution. So tell them, and always think of your website homepage. I like to think of it as a reception desk, not a shop window. So you really welcome them in. Hey, you're in the right place. Great to see you. We've been waiting for you. Go over here. That's where you're going to get what you want. And just be really clear and just think from that point of view. If someone's come to your website thinking, I'm struggling with my sales, I need to find someone who can help me, then tell them, this is what I do. This is how I help you. And then they're going to feel like, well, is this someone that I feel comfortable with? So you're going to introduce yourself, put it on that social proof so they know that other people have got results with you. And you, bit by bit, you just take them on this nice little journey. So just think about what's the next natural tiny step they need to take to enter your world. So what's going to make them feel safe and give them the knowledge that they need, and understanding that they're in the right place and you can help them. So my advice would just be break it down into those tiny steps and think through what that journey would be for your clients.
Yeah. And the tiny steps get us where we're going. It's really, look at your own life. It's not giant steps that get us there. It's these little baby steps. And then you look back and you think, whoa, I did all of that this year, this quarter, whatever it might be. And we don't stop to really evaluate where we've been, but it's usually baby steps that get us where we're going or where our objective is. You said in my intro, some of the information you sent me, that you believe in simple marketing, simple and significant. What define that for me? Because I get the simple, what you said, little baby steps, be very clear on the landing page. It's you're at the desk, right? You walk into someone and you're at the reception desk, right? And then here's what you need. Here are the tabs to take you for the information you're looking for, coaching, marketing, whatever it might be. How do you make it significant though, and keep it simple at the same time? Like, to me, those two words almost don't belong together.
Yeah. I totally hear you, because significant, you're suddenly thinking, oh my gosh, we're right back to overwhelm. But what I mean by that is marketing that means something. You know, you as a company, you started your business for a reason. If you took that big step to actually put yourself out there and launch something, there's a drive behind there. There's a real passion. So what is that? What is the change you want to make in the world? And how can you use your marketing to already help start making that change? So maybe it's a shift in people's understanding of what's available to them. I know there's people out there helping people understand their health in different ways, for example. So helping people make these better decisions in their life, that's significant. It doesn't mean that your marketing has to be like complex and overwhelming, but it means if it's simple, then that's going to have that significance or even more. I had one client, for example, and she educates children on how to read and write in English. So where I live in Switzerland, it's French speaking. And so her whole product was for the kids, but her clients were the parents. Yeah. So we dug into, well, what's significant for the parents? And we noticed that, you know, parents are really struggling to, well, how do I manage all this stuff? How do I raise kids who are happy and confident? How do I help them with their reading and writing at home? And what's my role in here? And, you know, they were really concerned about that. So we stopped her, all of her advertising, which wasn't working and costing her a fortune, to having parenting events once a month. She puts on coffee, tea, croissant for everybody, and she invites a parenting expert. So that's significant, but it's super simple. You know, it's 2.5 hours out of her month for the marketing. And she had been making a loss for 2 years. And then all of a sudden she started to break even. Then she was in profit. 6 months after we worked together, she was opening a second school because she'd made her marketing significant. They could see that she cared beyond the classroom, and she was all about co-creating the experience for kids. So they loved learning and they learned to control that. And so she was like really introducing the parents into that world too, so they could experience what her brand and her caring meant. So it was really significant. It meant an awful lot to the clients, but it was very simple and super cheap, you know, and she enjoyed it. She loved it. So that's what I think significant has to be. And it has to be something that you really enjoy. And if otherwise you won't do it on a consistent basis. And as we're saying, you know, you have to stay in the game over the long term. You know, with sales, people don't, well, sometimes, but rarely they'll say, yep, I'm in straight away. You know, you have to nurture them. You have to really warm them up to get them to that sale as well. So, you know, playing that role, adding value to their life, helping them with other parts of their life that may not even be directly linked to what you do, that's where you can make the difference.
And what a great story. And here you have this person that has a passion and kids. For me, right, it's always about the kids that I think that we like, what are we leaving them? You know, me as an adult now with kids. And that is such a gift that she has to be able to teach, right, English and writing and all of that to these kids who, you know, speak French, because culturally that's where they live. You have this beautiful gift, yet she was marketing it badly. And again, maybe badly is the wrong word, but she was missing the mark and she was hiding her gifts, which is a tragedy. So that's the importance of the marketing. If we're not clear on who we can help and how we can do it, and really in that case, who was the decision maker? The parent, not the child, right? The child doesn't know that they need to write in English or whatever it might be. So again, I think when we have our marketing messaging off, we're not enjoying it, right? It becomes this overwhelm. We're not bringing our gifts to the market. Shame on us. So this is the importance of the marketing messaging. What a great story. I love it. Inexpensive, simple, yet very significant. That was such a good example. Thank you for that, Melitta.
Yeah, and I have a corporate example as well for any corporate listeners. And I actually won an award for this one. So I was working in a corporate private bank, one of the largest in Switzerland at the time, all changed now. And they were relaunching their brand, completely relaunching their brand. And what they'd done is brought in an expensive consultancy, and they're like, oh yes, we're going to do this, that, and the other. And at the time I was focused on communication and working in internal sort of marketing. And I just stepped in and said, no, you can't do any of that. It's meaningless. It's just throwing money down the drain. Nobody cares. Our big opportunity here is to bring in our natural ambassadors, everyone internally, and bring them in and make them our ambassadors and make them our campaign. And the board loved the idea. And of course, it was like next to no, I think we saved 300,000 Swiss francs doing it my way instead of the way the consultancy were proposing. And so we did that. We just brought out lots of materials to help the internal staff understand that they were the brand. We weren't going outside. We weren't doing all of this stuff. We were representing them in a different way. And that was really important, but we could only achieve it with them on board. So we did this bit by bit journey over, I think it was 2 months. Every other day we had a little activity for them to do, something that introduced them to the brand. We had forums where they could come and share their ideas, and we integrated them and showed them why we did or we didn't. And then the day it launched, it was amazing. Instead of clients ringing up saying, what? Because the new branding was sparkly light blue, which is for a Swiss private bank, that was really quite out there. So instead of the client saying, what's this thing you sent me? The relationship managers were able to answer like, oh, we are so pleased you've called. We're really proud of this. This is what it represents. It's really about how I'm going to support our relationship going forward, how the whole bank is behind you and making a difference. And so it was beautiful, and it worked amazingly. And these things usually like fizzle out and don't succeed, but this one was hugely successful. So yeah, we won an award for that. But another example of how your marketing can be simple and significant and save you a fortune in the process.
See, but that's the thing. You have to bring someone in who knows what questions to ask to say, whoa, you so don't need that. This is all you need, right? So that's being in integrity too, instead of trying to go, that's my whole world, right? Stop trying to sell for the dollar or the commission or whatever it is, right? The revenue, and really, really look at the client from a needs standpoint. And then they hire you back, the client, when you, especially but on both corporate and small business side, you get hired back because you're delivering for them. You're helping them with their return on investment. And in your case, not only was it the return on the investment, there was return on time. You had engagement from the employees. You were building a corporate culture that was dynamic and living. And all of these things, right, are super important on the business side as well as on the corporate side. Two great examples. Thank you for that. That's amazing. We're almost out of time, but I do want to spotlight your book. I love it. A Shy Girl's Guide to Networking. You notice in my intro, Melitta, I said that wasn't written about me because I'm not a shy girl, but I hear this all the time. I'm introverted. I can never be good at sales. And that's really the furthest thing from the truth. You don't have to be like me or like Melitta, right, to be successful in sales or in marketing. That's Melitta's zone of genius. But talk to us about A Shy Girl's Guide to Networking. What everybody should buy it. If you're shy, please run, buy it. But what is the big advantage of them reading this book? What's the big help from you?
Yeah, so when I moved, you can probably tell from my accent, I grew up in the UK. I lived in London for 15 years before moving here to Switzerland. And I grew up labeled a shy girl. I was pretty shy and quiet. I had my group of friends and I was fine with them. But I wouldn't really put myself out there necessarily. And I certainly didn't go networking. Then I came to Switzerland, and of course I didn't know anyone, didn't have any friends, and I didn't know anyone like socially in the corporate world. So I had to get out there and network, and I hated it. I did everything wrong. So I bought a whole heap of books to help me learn the skills, but the books were great. They did give me skills that I still learn to this day, use rather. But what they didn't do, they didn't help me with this fear of, I just feel so out of place. I don't feel like I belong here. I feel really drained. It just was a very uncomfortable experience for me. So I took a step back, and at a leadership event, we were asked to do some self-coaching on a problem we have. And so I used networking, and I developed my own rules for success and my own rules for engagement. And I created what became known as the victory formula, which I spell out in the book exactly how to achieve that for yourself. Because I think it's really how to shift your mindset around not just networking, but anything you struggle with, to make it okay for you, to really decide, well, what are my skills? What are my strengths? How do I want to do this? What's the kind of brand I want to leave with people with? And really design your own methodology. And as soon as I did that, almost instantly, my results changed. I felt so much more confident. And then people started noticing and asking me to speak on that topic. And I just met so many people with the same struggles. And I was like, oh, I've been there. And I just really loved helping them, sharing my formula with them and what I'd learned along the way. So the book is full of, the first part is that mindset piece, the victory formula, so you can create your own rules. And then the second part is all about what you do before, during, and after an event to make it successful. And what you do before and after is really the most important part. You almost don't even need to show up for the event. It's fun to do that. But, if you do that well, then everything falls into place. And the before and after part are the bits that introverts do extremely well, because it's all about the thinking ahead, deep reflection, really creating and being prepared, and we love that kind of thing. And then it helps us manage our energy on the day as well. So it's really a complete guide. But it's quite funny, I get a lot of messages from extroverts and men saying, why did you call it the Shy Girl's Guide to Networking? I really love this. So I think everybody can take something away from it, but it was really to fill that gap of how do you feel comfortable and start really enjoying networking if you feel really awkward at it right now. Because I think networking is just the most powerful skill you can have for your business. It helps in so many different ways. So I really want more people to enjoy it.
And networking is on speed right now because of Zoom, that we could, I think yesterday I was on Zoom for 6 hours, and, it was coaching me. I mean, it was a multiple of things, but it was also two networking things that I was participating in. So it's networking. We are on speed right now. So let me ask you this, and I know we're out of time, but for the introvert, is Zoom, I would imagine Zoom has become a little bit easier from a navigational perspective, because you're not front and center, you're kind of in this group. Do you think it's become easier with Zoom?
I think so. It does have that sort of barrier. So you're one step removed from people. So, and there is always that option, if you feel really awkward, you can just turn your camera off. Or plus you don't have all the extra stuff. So it's, with introverts, it's really a matter of managing our energy. So anything that's novel or new is draining for us. So with Zoom, as long as we manage it and don't do 6 hours back to back, I think we would just like wilt completely. But if you can manage your time around that, and you as soon as you finish, you can go and rest and read a book or whatever, take a walk, whatever it takes for you to recuperate and recharge your batteries. So I think, it can be a good thing as well. But also I see a lot of people quite nervous. Well, how do I introduce myself on Zoom? Well, this is different, and it's a bit more formal. So I've introduced some networking events where we do micro breakout rooms, just 2 people, and they have a specific thing to talk about, and just for 5 minutes. And the introverts in the group are loving that. And the extroverts are enjoying it too, because it's keeping them focused. They can't go on for 20 minutes like, oh no, I have to actually think about, well, what do I want to say here? And they're actually enjoying that part too.
Yeah, it's interesting. When I first started working with business owners, one of the things, because oftentimes in Zoom, they say, hey, just put your quick bio and your contact information in the chat. Make sure you save the chat at the end, and then you could connect with people later. And so then I would be like, oh, that's a pretty good idea, right? Initially with Zoom. Then people were putting paragraphs in on what they do, or when they go around the room, they say, take 30 seconds and just share what you do really quick. And you have a room full of people. And, the first 3 people would take 15 minutes. It was shame on the moderator, right? If you're the moderator in these events, you have to be in control and cut people off, unfortunately. But I realized as I started talking to potential clients, they would talk about Zoom and just what you're saying, a little bit uncomfortable, and I'm not sure what to say. And I believe that when you're on Zoom, you should have a 17-word little bio. So people, and what's the hook, right? Or the compelling reason for them to say, wait, what did you just say? Let me look for her contact information. So we have to compel people through our messaging. But see, that's the sales piece. You kind of said it. You got to be really consistent and really concise in what you're saying, so people understand who you are. So see, again, it's a little bit of it's a little bit of the marketing messaging, but it's also the sales piece with the networking. So it's just fascinating how closely related you and my world are, and yet how drastically different, it's fascinating for me when I look back and I see this. It's just fascinating. So we're out of time, but Melitta, thank you so much. Is there anything you want to just end on before I share your contact info?
I've just really loved this conversation, and I think we've really touched on just so many great points. But I would just really urge people to it's okay to keep it simple. If it feels overwhelming, you need to take a step back and just think again. It shouldn't feel overwhelming. There is a lot to do, yes, and to be consistent. It takes a bit of energy, but if you're not enjoying it, then you're not doing the right thing. And trust your gut as well. If someone says, oh, you need to be on Instagram, and you're just not feeling that, don't even bother, because people, if you don't enjoy it, people will feel that, and you're not going to really connect with the right people, and they're not going to want to take that next step with you. So just, you have my permission to only do 1 or 2 things that you really love, and that is enough.
You heard it here. Melitta has given you permission. But it's really, it's so funny. When Clubhouse first came out and I was doing the rebrand and I was in the throes with COVID, and I thought, oh, another platform to learn. And then people were like, oh yeah, I'm on it for 3 hours. I thought, no. Just don't even go down that rabbit hole. I don't care if all my people are there. I just can't learn another platform and put X amount of hours. I had no hours to give. So I had to really make a discerning decision just not to even be part of that community. And now it's died down a little bit. So my efforts maybe would have paid off, probably not. So again, I'll never know, but I made a conscious decision. And that's what Melitta's talking about. It's okay to decide not to do something if it just doesn't feel right. So great, just such great advice. Listen, you guys, I know you need a little more Melitta in your life. Please go to our website. It's melittacampbell.com. I will put it in the show notes, so you don't have to worry about the spelling. And then email her directly. Oh, excuse me. At melittacampbell.com. She will respond to you. There's a free gift. She has an ebook. Just tell them real quick what the ebook title is.
It's 6 Steps to More Dream Clients. So it really breaks down what we've talked about today and how do you achieve that. And it's very super simple and very actionable.
And I will put that in the show notes as well. Also, when you get in on Melitta's email list, you'll find out when she's going to have the membership site open. I'm going to promote it as well for her because I love what she's doing. And you'll see me on the inside. I'm going to join too. So again, just melittacampbell.com or melitta@melittacampbell.com. Again, the ebook will be in the show notes. Check it out. Start to see if Melitta is a good fit for what you're trying to create in your business. Melitta, thank you again. We really went over, but just such a great conversation. I really appreciate your examples and your thoughts and the simplification. Simple works, we make things too complicated. So again, thank you for letting the listener off the hook, right? That we can say, I don't want to do that. It's okay to say that or feel that. So thank you so much for that as well.
You're very welcome, Connie.
Always a pleasure to see you. And I hope you will join me weekly as we question, build, and discover together that being heart-centered, changing your sales game, changing your marketing messaging. I hope my guests and I provide some really good tips, strategies, tools like the ebook that Melitta is sharing with us today. All of those things I really do hope help change your path, change your thinking, whatever it is, or wherever you feel stuck. I really hope that my guests and I provide tips, strategies, and ideas to implement. You got to implement it, guys. As soon as you implement it, you'll start getting results. It's all about the results, and that's what I want for you. You've been tuning into Changing the Sales Game with me, your host, Connie Whitman, on webtalkradio.net. I truly am honored to have you part of my community, listening to the show every week. And again, I hope that you continuously find value. It's my passion to share great content with you and help you move the needle in whatever change that you're going through. Thank you so much. Thank you, Melitta. I'll see you all next week. Have a great one.